I spent a whole week with the devil. And you know what? Actually, he's not this unpleasant. I know many people that are real, that are incarnated, and that are way more annoying than the devil. So tonight we're going to talk about the devil card, the devil archetype, its meaning, its symbolism, and why I wanted to integrate the Baphomet. I really think that we shouldn't be scared of the devil. You know, he's just an archetype. He's our self-deprecating voice, our calculating side, our addictions. And yeah, as I was painting this card, I heard him a lot. You know, I had this voice telling me, I always have this kind of voice bugging me, telling me that I don't really have a style, that there are so many decks out there that are beautiful. But yeah, I'm insisting. It just feels wonderful to do something that I love. The word devil comes from the Greek diabolos, who means the one who throws a cross, meaning the accuser, someone that throws accusation to somebody to create separation, division. And while I was doing researches about this card, my friend Open Phones, Tarot Master, opened me to the concept of the Baphomet from Eliphas Levi, which I had no idea at the time. And this changed the whole perspective. And that's really when the journey began.
Anyway, Levi's Baphomet isn't intended to embody Satan or any other opposite of God. Like nearly every other piece of Levi art, it is sardine-packed with symbolism about hermetic equilibrium. As usual, it was the daft punks of the late 1800s and early 1900s in England who got a hold of the image, flipped the pentagram to make it seem extra sinister. From there, it just became the badass goth iconography that it is to this day.
I'm always afraid to make mistakes because I really want to respect the symbols. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go with it. I just have to choose which symbols I'm gonna keep. Eliphas Levi's Baphomet, created in the middle of the 19th century, is a radically different vision of the devil. This figure represents the union of opposites, masculine, feminine, light and dark, spirit and matter. One arm pointing up and one down. As above, so below. The fundamental hermetic principle. Levi's intention was never diabolical in the Christian sense. His goal was to illustrate the alchemical process of transformation. One thing I really like about this image is the sexual energy represented by the caduceus there, which is a symbol of healing. You know, it's a life force, it's something beautiful and natural and not something to be repressed or be ashamed of like in Catholic doctrine. We find here the magical agent, Hermes, serpent, the double current transferring, the balancing force that heals itself. Virtuous circle. The hermetic principle holds that light is born from darkness. We extract the best from the worst. You can also see this influence in Oswald Wirth's version of the Devil card. In operative alchemy, this darkness, this first matter, corresponds to illness. And the spirit of an illness is conflict, hatred, jealousy, envy, or sadness. Everything eventually manifests, like in decantation where all the impurities fall at the bottom of the vessel. Subtle conflicts eventually descend into the material plane and become disease. The spirit of this universal illness is the fundamental conflict, the refusal of life through fear of death. He's not scary because he's ugly. He's scary because he's attractive. I really like the effect of satyrs in Greek mythology. You know, they are primal, they are wild, but They are magnetic, especially today. And that's slept what like them 4 hours. Seductive instead of repulsive. I can feel my heart a little bit weak. I would like to have this effect with the devil. Hurry up to finish this painting before I die. This traditional image shows a dragon biting its own tail, a miracle without fraud, as the alchemists say, because this venomous dragon carries within itself the remedy. The venom is transformed into serum. Ah, I love this concept. The venom is the healing part. It's the serum. Like in modern medicine, you have laboratories that develop serums from venom from spiders or from snakes. So it's an alchemical process. You extract the remedy from the poison. So yeah, you can spend your whole life saying Vade retro Satanas and you'll get nowhere. People that escape this process by projecting their conflicts outward will be constantly crushed by the dragon. This is my impersonation of a dragon. I wanted to get away from the Christian roots of Tarot de Marseille here, especially for this card. But I kept many things from Tarot de Marseille still, which is heavily influenced by Christianity. So in that image, and in many versions of Tarot around the Renaissance, the devil is something that we have to fear. And it's very intimidating, and it positions the devil as an external threat. Okay, so it's Arcanum 15, 1 plus 5, 6, the number of the beast. So there I kept the bat wings. I kept also the eyes. You know, the devil sees everything. He can see through our lies, our masks, our carefully constructed personas. This is uncomfortable, but it's also liberating in a way. You know, there's no point in pretending. Like me right now, pretending that I'm a specialist of symbolism and tarot. Not at all. There is also that tongue that is sticking out, and that's where Jodorowsky tells us that the devil is playing tricks on us, that he shouldn't be taken too seriously. He's mocking us, but he's also reminding us that we shouldn't give him too much power. So yeah, my mom just passed by and said, "Ah, he looks funny. Not scary, funny." And I don't want him to look funny, you know. So I'm thinking maybe from her, it's a mechanism of defense because she's afraid, I think, about the concept of the devil. So maybe she went, ah, ha, ha, he's funny. You know, I don't want to redo everything from scratch. He's only as scary as we make him. Okay, now the two figures beneath him, they are attached, but look closer. The cord is loose. They could free themselves if they wanted to. They are like the people in Plato's cave, you know? In that allegory, prisoners are chained in a cave since birth, watching shadows on the wall, believing these shadows are reality. And when one is freed and sees the actual world outside, it's overwhelming, it's even painful. So it means that most would rather go back to the shadows of the cave. They prefer to remain in comfortable obscurity rather than see themselves with all their parts. So what does it mean when the devil shows up in a reading? Because he will show up, trust me. So first, let's talk about the overall energy. Passion, attachment, intensity, urges, unconscious drives. There is often this dark, almost tragic feeling lurking in the unconscious when this card happens. But the devil can also represent talent, raw creative power. You know, the creativity that comes from the parts of ourselves that we've been taught to hide. There is power there, there is medicine there. When the devil appears, look at attachment, not the beautiful, heart-centered attachment of the lover card, but attachment through compromise, obligation, duty, relationships or situations where you stay not because you want to, but because you feel that you have to. The devil points a lot to our addictions. It can be substances, but it can be addiction to people, to being right, to control, to victimhood, to old stories about ourselves. Addiction to comfort, to the familiar pain that we know. So the devil is asking, which chains are you wearing that you could actually remove? What illusions are you clinging to? Which parts of yourself are you refusing to look at? I'm not filming the last day. I'm really not presentable. But I guess I survived. So yeah, I'm trying to not run from my devil anymore. And that annoying voice in my head that tells me that I'm not enough is a lot quieter since I gave him a proper portrait. And of course, he shows up all the time again and again. But now I recognize him and I say, thank you very much for your feedback, but I'm working here. Bye. If you disliked this video, please give a thumb down. And you can tell me also if you have your own dragons that you're fighting. Like good nights. Knights. Good night. Good night. Knights.